Ladies and gentlemen, I invite the Director and CEO of the International Centre of Culinary Arts, who was the inspiration behind this session, and he will moderate the panel, Mr. Sanjay Raja.
Thank you.
I would like to call to the stage, in no particular order, Mr. Mohammed Mahfoud. Please join us, Sanjay. Director and CEO of the DECA4 Advisory. Vignesh Raja, Director, the HBR Foundation, Middle East and Southeast Asia, founding member of the Dubai Blockchain Council. Sebastian Huth, the co-founder and co-founder precise of the Blockchain Solutions LTC. Praneet Kumar, crypto lawyer. I thought all lawyers were crypto in some sort of way, Crypto lawyer, founder. Praneet Kumar, an associate and co-partner of Gravity X Capital. Girish Ashirwar, the co-founder and director of Create Protocol, will join us on the stage. And Sanjay, take it away.
Thank you, Andy. Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to begin this session with an honest confession. Not so long ago, like many in this room, I too was confused with crypto and cryptocurrencies. And because I didn't know much about the same. But I remember standing bewildered and with mind-boggling numbers in the media, mind-boggling because these numbers pertain to real money. I soon became enamored with an emerging economy and also to see a whole new young world of crypto millionaires and billionaires who are all in their 20s and 30s. I soon realized it was just not money about money here, okay, and it was more about technology. Technology that could make a difference in the way we do things and also in our lives. A new paradigm, I must say. So it was this and also the realization that what brought us here will not take us forward got me convinced. At this point, I like to basically quote what Elon Musk once said. I could either watch it happen or be a part of it, and I chose the latter. I'm delighted to invite you all this morning to an exciting session talking disruption, food in the metaverse, the future of economy food, a $1 trillion economy. Before I basically go into the future, I'd like to take you to the very beginning where it all began not so long ago. If you remember, those of you at least my age, okay, in 1994 to be more precise, we had likes of Yahoo, Internet Explorer, and Napster that came by. For the first time, we saw the emergence of the information economy, what we call as Web 1, where we would read on a touch of a button, it could get information that we wanted. So it was no more the encyclopedias, it was basically the internet through all these browsers. Within about a decade or so, then came the emergence of Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram that needs no introduction at all, which is very much a part of our lives. Now, what we saw here was a platform economy where we not only could read, we also could write. And this is what we call the Web 2. Okay, and guess we all contribute a lot to make likes of Mark Zuckerberg make a lot of money out of us. Right, that's what platform economy is all about. And exactly a decade from there, and emerged Web 3, which is still in the very nascent stages. It's about the token economy, or what you call the MOIP, or the money or the internet protocol. And that's what we are here to talk about. Now here, I would like to see these arrows from Web 1 to Web 2. That will leap, if you see, the size of the arrow between the Web 2 and Web 3 is what basically is beckoning us at this point in time. So we are actually seeing something much, much more bigger than we ever thought or imagined. Right. Now, talking about the crypto adoption. Yes, internet has been here for far too long. Okay, it's been there from early 90s. And crypto emerged only in 2014. But around 2021, 22, if you notice that crypto has already far exceeded or far basically surpassed internet in this path. So there's something to basically be reckoned with. Right? So let's go to the very core of the whole thing, the blockchain. Everybody talks about blockchain. What exactly blockchain is all about? Simply put, in layman's perspective, Blockchain is nothing else but a digital ledger of where transactions are actually duplicated and distributed across all the computers in a network. So when an event or a transaction happens, so there are thousands and thousands of computers, could be much, much more, tens of thousands of computers, which actually basically validate it on real-time basis. So what we really see is when an event happens, like there are a lot of people who basically confirm that. So having said that, now what we're seeing here is mostly the most incredibly the credible thing to happen. So what does it really basically mean to us? Okay, it helps basically promote validation and credibility. Okay, now you don't have to go to basically schools to certify your qualification. Blockchain is much more powerful, okay, and much more trustless than anything. You don't have to go to governments. You don't have to basically go to institutions to basically have something endorsed. Blockchain does it all in a much more credible manner. It actually promotes a decentralized solution. We don't have to be part of some ecosystem, a third-party ecosystem. You could be doing something in a universal system, so to say. It helps basically create developer economies. We don't have to go to Facebook. We don't have to go to Instagram to basically market anymore. You could basically do things on your own. And most important thing is decentralized finance. Just yesterday in one of the panel discussions, we were talking about a chef from Liberia wanted to set up a school out there. Just imagine, we believed in doing something like this, and we wanted to make a difference to our own fraternity or to our ecosystem, and we could all contribute in our own little way in a most legitimate manner. So these are the possibilities, or limitless possibilities, what the future has in store for us. So blockchain is definitely the future of where things are going to be. So having said that, the long and short of it is this one slide sums it up all. So we are at the moment in 2022, we are just in the very nascent stages. And by 2027, exactly 5 years now, it is estimated this economy is going to reach about $33 trillion plus in the blockchain and the cryptocurrency, so to say. If this be so, the question now is, where are we in this? Okay, are we ready to adapt, or basically, are we going to take advantage of us as early movers into the space? Okay, at one time came the internet, came the computers. If at all people are not basic literate, okay, they won't be basically, of any relevance at this moment. So we actually faced a completely new revolution once again. At this point, much more bigger than we ever thought. So internet, cryptocurrency, okay, is all real at the moment, and that's where the world is taking to. So I would like to basically talk about the speakers here. Okay, Mohammed Marfoot, of course, he's an angel investor, crypto advisor, and startup mentor. He has basically supported over 50 startups out of Europe, and he's also worked in several government and private sector companies, including SAP and PwC. With the emergent security token, saw him setting up Decafo, which is basically a foremost player as far as consulting, advisory, and project management in this space is concerned. So we also have with us Vignesh Raja, the director of HBAR Foundation for Middle East and South Asia. And he is part of a $250 million fund, which actually helps support B2B, B2B2C, and Web3 application and initiatives on the Hedera platform. Okay, Praneeth Kumar is obviously the crypto lawyer, and crypto lawyer in the emerging technologies. So anything on blockchain, Web3, Metaverse, and decentralized finance, he's the go-to man here. We also have with us Girish. Okay, he's a co-founder and director of Create Protocol. Now, he is an alumnus of the Indian Institute of Technology. That's what has produced the foremost disruptors, creators, and the CEOs of Silicon Valley. He is highly experienced building successful businesses across domains, and he has also helped companies grow global. Last but not least, we have with us Sebastian Huth. He's a crypto expert, a coach, a public speaker on blockchain technologies, and of international repute. And interestingly, he's one of us. He has a hospitality background. All right. Having said that, he could be a right one to connect what the technology could do for us. As a renowned crypto expert, he has trained hundreds of people world over. He has basically consulted and advised governments, family offices, including central banks in the region. So how to make them understand what blockchain is about and what could blockchain do to make things, to revolutionize things. So without further ado, I'd like to basically call upon Sebastian with his presentation on blockchain infrastructures in hospitality. Are you ready for it? Sebastian, can you come?
Where do I have to click?
Yeah, this one. That's right.
How many of you have been directly or indirectly, personally on your business, been affected during the pandemic in the last 2 years? Thank you. And how many of you, I believe you're working for your chefs, you're working in restaurants and hotels around the world, how many of you have lost staff, employees, and co-workers because they have moved to other industries, or you had to be laid off, or they had to be let go of? Thank you. How many of you have ever heard about cryptocurrencies, NFTs, and the Metaverse before? Thank you. My name is Sebastian Huth, and today I want to talk about blockchain infrastructures in hospitality and how you can potentially profit from this. But first of all, I want to thank everybody here in the panel and, of course, the audience and the organizers for having me here. It's an honor. And in the next 15 minutes or so, I don't have much time, and I don't want to bore you. In the next 15 minutes or so, I have the possibility and the opportunity to bring you a little bit closer to cryptocurrencies, NFTs, blockchain, and all of that stuff, which many people might have heard about, but most of you don't really know what to make of. Is it okay if I just speak a couple of things about myself? Is that all right? Thank you. As Mr. Sanji was saying, I was born in the late 70s in Germany, in Eastern Germany. And when I was about 5 years old, I was in the restaurant of my grandparents back then in third generation, and I would go around the counter to the tap, and my grandmother would stand next to me, and she says, "Okay, now you take the glass and you pour the beer, and then you wait, and then you pour a little more." So basically, I was born into hospitality. So I'm kind of one of you. I know most of you are chefs. I know how to cook, but I'm not a chef. But I have graduated in international hotel management in the late 90s, and I have lived and traveled and worked in hospitality in over 40 countries until about 2013. And in that year, I was reading about cryptocurrencies before, and I thought, okay, I might give it a try. And in March 2013, I actually purchased my first Bitcoins with the little savings that I've made over the years, not much. And back then, the price of Bitcoin was at 66.99 euros. And so I was kind of lucky to get in so early. And in the first few years, I didn't really do much with this. But then in 2015, when everything started booming again, people were talking to me like, you got crypto, you got Bitcoin, can you tell us a little bit about it? And I said, yes, of course. So I started talking to 10 people, and then all of a sudden 20 people, and then 50, and then 100, and then 500, and 1,000. And all of a sudden, from this young guy coming out of the hospitality, I was all of a sudden feeling like Forrest Gump, traveling around the world, speaking on large panels, all of a sudden being asked by even ministries and central banks and big family offices to tell them about crypto and how to get into crypto space. I was focusing on education. I was focusing on giving talks and workshops around the world to a lot of people on how to get safely into this space. And in 2018, I thought it was time to go much deeper into this. And I saw a great opportunity to go into the blockchain space and really setting up crypto and blockchain infrastructures I'm a co-founder of a company called Precise Blockchain Solutions here in the UAE, based in Dubai, and we are helping companies and individuals and family offices in many places to set up crypto and blockchain infrastructures here and in other parts of the world. There are two reasons why I like talking about this today. Reason number one, because of my journey coming from hospitality, I've seen that cryptocurrency has become not only a big opportunity, but it actually has made me financially free, which I never anticipated, because my father was a policeman, my mother was a nurse, and I started off as a waiter with 5 years old. But the reason why I like talking about this is because I think for any business in hospitality, whether it's a hotel or restaurant or bar or cafe or whatever it is, I think it presents a great opportunity for every individual and also business to benefit from this, potentially. Now, I have a little presentation for you, and I think I don't have much time, so let me start on this. So this is blockchain infrastructures. And do you see the picture on there? This is a restaurant, I believe it's on Ibiza. It's called Supply Motion. And yes, I would like to speak briefly about cryptocurrency payments as a means of payments for you, for us in hospitality. Non-fungible tokens, what are they? How can they be used for? And the Metaverse. This one gentleman, forgive me because I don't know your name. When you came and introduced all of us, you said like I don't know the heck about the Metaverse, and you're right. Until about half a year, I didn't know what it was because everything is so moving so fast. But anyway, let's have a look at how cryptocurrencies are currently benefiting. And the first thing that people always ask me, like, oh, why should I use cryptocurrency as a payment in my restaurant, in my hotel, in my business anyway? It's always the why. So I was going through the whole list, like, why is it so good? Now, number one, using cryptocurrencies for payments, not only in hospitality but everywhere else, has much lower fees, and it's borderless. You don't have to wait for the bank to open up or close. It always exists and it always happens. There are faster settlement times for the payments. There's no chargeback, which is a very big bonus for a lot of online payment companies. But most importantly, what has been known and what has been studied is that in the last few years, companies that are using cryptocurrencies for payments were basically branding themselves as, with an innovative image, as a brand. And with that, that created huge global marketing. And with that global marketing, companies were actually attracting new customers, totally new customers, online and offline, to their businesses. And with that, more sales and revenues and, of course, profits. Now, I also see cryptocurrency for each and all of us, if it's done in the right way, if it's done in the safe way, a major potential for us to personally invest in this, but also as a business. Now, let's have a look who's already accepted cryptocurrency. Well, there's a list of hospitality companies, but maybe let me put this first. The biggest retailers around the world are currently working on getting into crypto. The biggest cinema chains, the biggest banks, the biggest asset managers are already in crypto. There's not one day that goes by that another bank, another retailer is accepting cryptocurrency, also here in the UAE. For example, there's a restaurant called Caviar and Bowl with a Michelin star, it's a Michelin star restaurant on Malta that has been accepting cryptocurrency very successfully. KYC Canada, Subway, Pizza Hut in Venezuela, and many more companies around the world are following. The Golden Gate Hotel and Casinos in Las Vegas, Kessler's Collection Hotels in the United States, and also Sandman Hotels in the United States and the UK. So cryptocurrency is not just some nerd currency somewhere. It has become a huge driver for business. And the head of the Dallas Mavericks, the basketball club, recently said, we have sold more merchandise in our entire history with cryptocurrencies than with any other means of payment before. And this is the future, my friends. Now, if you look at this one, you see this little monkey nodding its head. Well, this is one of the most expensive collection of non-fungible tokens, or so-called NFTs. NFTs are in a way also cryptocurrencies. You know, cryptocurrencies, we all know Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, and all of these other ones. There are thousands of them. But then there are also the NFTs. NFTs are basically digital content packed with cryptocurrency, documented on a gigantic network called the blockchain. Very rare. So this guy in the back costs hundreds of thousands if you want to buy this. And if you look at these three very strange pictures on the top, these are called CryptoPunks. They also belong to some of the most expensive crypto NFTs on the planet. But nothing in compared to this one called Every Day's the First 5,000 Days. This is an NFT by an artist called The Beeble, and it sold for 69 million at Christie's. This is what we know as NFTs. However, how can NFTs benefit you in your restaurant, in your bar, in your cafe? And I believe there are a lot of producers here in, I believe there's a tea brand and many other producers here in this room, hotels. How can you benefit from non-fungible tokens? Well, first of all, let me categorize this in two big major categories. Category one, there are digital NFTs. And then category two, there are physical NFTs with a so-called physical redemption in the back. Now, how can be a digital NFTs? How can this benefit people, chefs like you and people in the hospitality industry? Well, how about instead of having these digital designs of artists and everything, how about having an NFT as a video or music animation, possibly with food design art? Or maybe as a collectible of famous chefs. I don't know, I don't want to ask the question because I'm sure you're all famous, but how about instead of a soccer player issuing an NFT, like Lionel Messi? Or how about instead of an NFL player or music stars that are regularly issuing NFTs like Katy Perry? How about if one of you is actually issuing an NFT as a famous chef, as a collectible? You could register your restaurant or your hotel or your cafe brand, your online domain as an NFT. You could also auction your hotel rooms as an NFT. You could create a reward token royalty program, NFT, as an NFT. This would be the digital version of it. However, there's one more, way more exciting thing on the other end. These are the physical, notarized, documented physical redemption NFTs. Now, if you look at the picture here, it's this restaurant is called Fly Fish Club in New York City. It's going to open up in the next few months. And they're actually issuing their membership as an NFT. So you can purchase with cryptocurrency, you can purchase this membership, which is very exclusive, which is very expensive, and you can actually borrow it out to your friends and families if you want to. You can issue meal vouchers as NFTs. If any of you have some special recipe that you want to make sure that nobody ever steals it, you can actually document that as a smart contract on the blockchain in form of an NFT, so that nobody in the future can ever steal that from you again, or multiply it, or duplicate it. You can create NFTs for restaurant or hotel bookings. And if there are any producers or people that are representing producers in this room, or people that are watching it later, one of the biggest problems in the global industry is that there's so much cheating going on where the actual products come from. Do we know that the coffee that we buy actually comes from Africa? Do we actually know that the salmon that is said to be Norwegian actually comes from Norway? And that it was actually caught on a week before and not 3 weeks before? Now, issuing NFTs and the tokenization of everything will help document the origin of food products. It will help not only document it on when it was created or manufactured or produced, it will also set the price and the producer and the origin of everything. And I think that's a major, major step towards, besides sustainability and everything and creating new food products, But to know exactly where something comes from, I think it's something essential for all of us. If you are working, or if you are like a Michelin or Gourmillot or the leading hotel of the world, and instead of issuing your certificates through a piece of paper or that is submitted through mail or email, you can in the future also issue your certificates as an NFT to the people that have been rewarded the Michelin star. And yeah, you can even if you have a shop in your restaurant, if you have a merchandise sales, you can issue that with a physical delivery. And as a matter of fact, before I forget it, I was asked to change the presentation, but unfortunately it was too late. There's a company called the Wine Bottle Club, and the Wine Bottle Club has partnered up with some of the most interesting and some of the most renowned wineries in France. And they're actually going to issue an NFT of some famous wine brands. For example, Chateau Margaux is going today at 6 p.m. CET. If anybody is interested, let me know. I tell you when it happens. They're going to issue an NFT for the Chateau Margaux brand as a special edition, which has never been created before. But it's not only a digital image, which, by the way, looks quite cool, but it's also you get the special brand of the bottle, you being part of a special club, and many more incentives within that. And that is the future. Restaurants, hotels, bars and cafes, and many hospitality businesses are going to be using NFTs for documentation and using the trend to enhance their business. But there's way more than that. Now here comes the Metaverse. What is the Metaverse? The Metaverse basically is a virtual reality, an augmented reality. About 30 years ago, I used to play Lara Croft in a video game. I used to have this joystick. We would sit in front of the TV when I was in my early 20s in the UK when I was working there. And then we were playing and running around with Lara Croft and doing all these adventures. Now, it's an automated augmented reality that we're all going to go into in the future. Companies like Daimler Chrysler, Apple, Meta, which used to be called Facebook, Disney, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Roland Berger Consulting, dozens of global banks are now creating their metaverses. Most of them are based on blockchain. Now, we could be using glasses at one point, and maybe at one point the glasses will disappear. But right now, the first metaverses already exist. Now, what's the benefit for you to create your own metaverse? Because obviously this is something that needs to be created. Now, it is a revolutionary digital platform with a huge worldwide popularity. As Sanjay said earlier, it's a multi-trillion-dollar market, and you could actually represent yourself and your company in a global village, either in your own metaverse that you own, or in a publicly owned metaverse that is decentralized. And you can position yourself, and what can you do in this metaverse? Well, there are so many varieties. You can actually use the metaverse, this digital reality. You go in there, and you can create an avatar. You can look like yourself, or you can choose to look like somebody else, bigger, smaller, with red hair, with green hair, whatever you like. And then you go in there, and then you can go shopping. And people can go shopping in your shop. People can actually go and celebrate in your restaurant and do your party. They can go to your delicatessen shop. You can brand yourself and your restaurant and your hotel, whatever business you have, and you can have your own place eternally in the metaverse. You can actually follow cooking classes and presentations live in the metaverse. People can come in from all over the world. You can walk around in your digital hotel room or your restaurant. So in the future, if I want to go to this one particular place, say in Shanghai, in a restaurant, I can go into the metaverse and check it out before and if I actually like it or not. And I think there are many more applications of the metaverse that we don't even see yet. Besides, people can actually watch their own food being prepared while you're in the restaurant. And again, the picture on that you see there on the right is from a restaurant called Supply Motion that is run by a double Michelin starred chef called Paco Concero in Ibiza, Spain. And there's also another restaurant just like that, similar. It's called the Naked Tree in Tokyo. Sorry, Tree by Naked, I do apologize, and then it's in Tokyo, Japan. So this might be not for everybody, but this might be something for a lot of people as well. I was talking about one thing, one big problem that we all face in hospitality right now globally, and that is basically hospitality lost about 40% of their employees and their staff in the last 2 years. And this is not just me making this up. This is me talking to people all over the world, from New York to Shanghai, from Germany to the UK, from Spain, everywhere. And I'm sure some of you can relate to that. How many of you can relate to that you've lost a lot of people, a lot of staff? Thank you. Now, what if, and I know a lot of people, a lot of companies are actually trying to get their people back, trying to get new people, but nobody's coming. It's like, where have they gone? Everybody's looking, where did they go? Well, what about if you give them an incentive? And what about this incentive could be that you actually pay your staff fully or partially in cryptocurrencies? Now, I do understand that a lot of people globally are working, originate from one country, but they're working in another country. So to pay your employees in cryptocurrencies, they could actually use this for their savings for the future, but also they can send cryptocurrency across the planet with a blink of an eye with a very small fraction of the fees compared to the big giants like Western Union and MoneyGram that take 10, 15% out of the transfer. People globally, the working staff in the UAE, in Saudi Arabia, all over the world can actually send money home to their families, which they do. We're talking about 500 billion in assets every year. They could send that in cryptocurrency and they could save about 10% or more in transfer fees. Now, you could actually pay your staff on a monthly or annual basis in a bonus in cryptocurrencies if you choose to. These are all just suggestions. And if you want to, you can issue an NFT voucher as a gift to them. And I know in a lot of restaurants, people making a lot of tips. How about pooling the tips, converting the tips into cryptocurrencies, and then actually giving to your employees? But there's one more cool thing that some of you might like and some of you might not like, and that's okay. I know that a lot of people in hospitality are walking around a lot every single day. How many of you are walking around a lot every single day? Thank you. How many are not walking around every day? Thank you. Well, anyway, for the ones of you that do walk around in hospitality, which I know that there are a lot, there are several apps that you can actually use that are counting your steps at work, and you get rewarded in cryptocurrencies and blockchain. How about if you tell your people, your staff, look, I will show you how to get this app, and then you can actually make money while you're making money with cryptocurrency. It's just a suggestion. Anyway, crypto payments, non-fungible tokens, and the Metaverse have the potential to turn your restaurant or hotel or your whatever hospitality business you have into a profitable blockchain hub in the future, which is now. Whether you wait another few months or few years, it is only a matter of time before every restaurant, bar, cafe, hotel, gas station, mall, every business that you know will be accepting cryptocurrency. In a couple of years down the road, nobody is going to even blink an eye about this anymore. But right now, you all could position yourself in the Web 3.0 that some people call it, with cryptocurrencies, NFTs, the Metaverse, to enhance your business, to attract new customers, individually invest for yourself and for your business, and position yourself in the market, attract new customers and people, and maybe also new staff. If you ever need any help with that, we at Precise Blockchain Solutions are always there, helping with things like that. And having said that, I want to thank you all for, I hope I didn't overdraw too much. I want to thank you all for listening today. I wish you a good future in crypto or not. Again, thanks for being here, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Sebastian. I think one real takeaway from that presentation of yours was how to basically reward your employees, reward your team with NFTs and in crypto, because that is basically more like a passive income in the sense it'll always continue to keep growing. So it's not a big dent on as far as the owners or the business is concerned. You basically, basically taking trends like an initiative, okay, because we definitely need some kind of saving plan, which most of us in the industry, at least in this part of the world, there's nothing, none of this exists. Maybe an initiative, an innovative application such as this could make all the difference, because it's not a dent on the pocket of the owners or the companies, whatever, but it's just an initiative which will continue to grow. Right, with that, let's get on to some questioning here. My first question to you, Mr. Mohammed Marfood, there's no doubt that Metaverse is going to be a $1 trillion opportunity. Right, at least Yahoo Finance said that, but I know we all believe that in this particular tribe that we are. But I would like to know about the immediate future of economy in the Metaverse. How would it look like in terms of early adoption? Because making the first move is the biggest thing. So how do you think the first adopters would look like? Yeah. Can you just try that?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. Thank you, Mr. Sanjay, and thanks everybody for having us. It's quite an exciting opportunity actually to talk to a different type of audience that we are used to, and it's very interesting to see the interest here. Now the whole metaverse, and let's just say it, the Web3, which is an encompassing word for metaverse, NFTs, the whole crypto, blockchain. Where is the adoption? I mean, there are so many different angles from the adoption. Right now, the whole technology is at the early stage, kind of. So at the early stage of any innovation, it will go to a peak, and then it will be dropping, and then pick up again. So right now, we're kind of going to the peak, where lots of adoption in terms of the infrastructure of the technology, which is not the interest of this audience here. And then if you have noticed around us, UAE becoming a hub, for example, and that's a signal of going to major adoption. So regulation are coming, government initiatives are happening. And what we are seeing right now is experimentation of the usage of this technology. Some of these experiments will continue, and some will not be here in the long run. And in my personal view, and we are in DECA 4, we're a specialized consultancy company, so we look into the strategy and the adoption, and we do what we call Web 2 to Web 3 enablement. So, taking existing people from the Web 2 and having them present in Web 3. So what we are seeing as a major and critical adoption is the individual presence and the corporate presence. Just to simplify that, everybody I'm sure here has a Facebook account and an Instagram account. Now, your account in the social media platform or any other community doesn't belong to you. It belongs to that account. So it belongs to that company. So if you have an Instagram account, it's not yours. It belongs to Instagram or Meta. The same with Facebook, Twitter, so on and so forth. What we're seeing right now, as Bastian mentioned, for example, with the NFTs, it gives you the opportunity to own your identity. And, so what we are seeing right now is people building up their presence by owning their identity. It could be your personal image. It could be your domain name. For example, every company, every person here has a domain name. You do not own it. People do not think about that. You're actually renting it. And if you stop paying the rent, you lose that domain. Today, you can go to, for example, Unstoppable Domains and other places to actually buy your domain name as an NFT. Now, that becomes yours. You do whatever you want to do with it forever. The same thing with your presence. So what we are seeing right now is this movement from what we call Web 2. So, people who have an Instagram account, Facebook account, also creating their presence by creating an NFT through an avatar. There's much more, complexity on the work, but we're not going to touch on that here. But, going from that phase to a phase where you are the owner of your identity. Now, your identity, think of it as an Instagram account can be presented in Decentraland or Sandbox. Tomorrow, maybe these places are not existing. There is a different metaverse. Your identity belongs to you. You can take it there. So that's a major, major shift. It is sometimes very simple, and in many cases is not. So that's, to us, and the way that we look at it is the major adoption of the presence of the individual and the corporates into the Web3 world.
All right, thank you for that, Ms. Mohammed. Just to add, Mr. Mohammed was saying what exactly the government here is looking at. His Excellency Sheikh Mohammed's initiative on blockchain the other day, what they're trying to say is that blockchain would basically, cryptocurrency bring about $4 billion into the UAE economy over the next 3 years' time, actually. And they're going to see basically 42,000 new jobs move into this domain. Right, now this is as real as it gets, okay? And there's a lot of basically things happening around. So just to add what Mohammed said, like, yes, it's a matter of time, we'll all be into it whether we like it or not. Okay, my question to you, Vignesh, now you basically are a part of a $250 million fund to develop B2B and B2B2C initiatives on the Metaverse. Could you tell us what is the impetus and objective behind this fund? Now, yes, I mean, the numbers look big, but what exactly is it about, actually?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for providing this opportunity. So I'm part of this company called the HBAR Foundation. So we are actually a $5 billion fund. So we have allocated $250 million for creators, startups, and companies to develop applications on a network called Hedera. So Hedera is a company, is a blockchain company. It's like Ethereum, Bitcoin, you must have heard of. It's the third generation of blockchain. So what we have is a network, and it's a decentralized network. And our objective is to enable as many people to build applications, apps on our network. And that is the incentive that we give through the tokens or through fiat money in terms of funding to these creators or to the developers. That's what we do. So from the use case perspective, I mean, for the past 6-7 months we've been with the organization, we see a lot of innovations coming in, that we have never thought of, especially like adding on to what Mr. Mohammed had said, this is the first time in your life where you can control your identity. So it was initially in the Web 2 space, you had companies like Facebook or Instagram controlling your identity. You are basically the product. The first time where the community is going to own the entire platform. So it's a complete paradigm shift. We see there's an opportunity where the community controls the entire platform. So we see use cases like play to earn, like Mr. Sebastian had mentioned, you had something called move to earn. So you just walk and earn crypto for that. Now we also see where in your industry, we have something like learn to earn. So you can allow where people can learn, and you can verify that this person has learned on the blockchain. And based on the verification, they can actually basically earn by just learning. That's it. So there's a great shift that we are looking at. We see companies starting from gaming to creators and to all the creators and also this entertainment companies. Everybody is getting into this space. So we're very excited about it, and hopefully we are able to support a lot of these innovations moving forward.
Thank you for that, Vignesh. In fact, yesterday we had a whole day of educators forum, and what I really is beautiful to say is learn to earn. And what's more important is that yesterday Ragnar was talking about issuing certificates or basically badges. Now the badges of the future would be basically would be on the blockchain, which is much more credible because everything is basically burnt in time. That means everything is basically real time, registered. So it tells you, when you hire people that they're really basically taken time to spend some time on the platform. Okay, the certificates basically, it's not touched by anybody, but basically the blockchain taking care of it. So we got a lot of incredibly credible solutions up there. Right. My next question would be to Mr. Praneeth. Now, you as a lawyer, so. Now, there's no doubt that blockchains are absolutely credible. It cannot be fudged because they're trustless, right? But it's not so in the case of cryptocurrencies. Just to add what Mr. Mohammed was saying, it's basically we are in the nascent stages. We are seeing a lot of volatility in the market. Okay, if this be so, what are your thoughts on the stability and the credibility and the cautions, if any, as far as cryptocurrencies are concerned? Because at this point, and at least today, the market is showing a downside right now. So how would you basically address that?
Yeah. First of all, I would like to thank the entire organizers to bring me on this panel. It's very interesting. I have been an avid speaker, but most of them have been traditional blockchain conferences. But this is the real breakthrough. So, how many of you have seen Spider-Man, the Spider-Man movie? So there's a very famous line in Spider-Man movie. It's called, "With power lies great responsibility," right? So this panel is talking about all the opportunities, but I also want to caution here that just in last 2 months, more than $300 billion have been wiped out from the industry. Now, what does that mean? That when I give you control of your identity, when I give you control of a lot of assets that you hold, you also need to learn how to manage it, right? A lot of people have heard that, news industry is at this moment full of news around scams around cryptocurrencies. And in terms of quantum, just Luna, if you see, we have lost massive amount of money. And this is not new. This is not just unique to cryptocurrency. You take financial industry, you take any industry, you look at what happened in 2008. So just imagine the biggest play at this moment is how well aware we are. And if we are not aware, there is a very famous maxim in law that you can play with the facts, but you cannot play with the law. What does that mean? That when we are talking about payments, we are talking about so many things, but you have to also understand that in cryptocurrency, there is very difficult to establish where the source of capital coming from. So if you are an institution who's receiving payments, you are the responsible person to also do the KYC and AML, because so blockchain is all about traceability. We spoke about someone who's selling an organic tea can establish that, yes, this is organic. At the same time, if a bad money is coming into the system, the trail of blockchain can actually establish that this is the dirty money coming in. So just imagine you're running a Michelin star hotel with the trail of payment, which is not something very interesting coming to you, and you're not even responsible for it, but just because you're ignorant about it, you will land into so many challenges. So yes, the opportunity is unimaginative. Probably we are in the biggest, I don't think our generation will see something so disruptive in early times to come. But at the same time, it comes with a lot of responsibilities. And I'm very proud that the government of UAE is so progressive that they are coming out with virtual asset regulatory authority. Just imagine whether the countries and economies are not even able to struggle with the concept of cryptocurrency. The country that we are sitting in right now is actually coming out with a regulatory authority. And but the biggest play here is, if you look at any cryptocurrency investment opportunity, 50 to 60% of their entire circulation pool is actually owned by the community. So just imagine you own 50 to 60% of Apple, you own 50 to 60% of Coca-Cola. I mean, these opportunities, only because of cryptocurrency you have these opportunity, right? But having said that, you also have to be very, very cautious. And there's a very famous saying, buyer beware. So it's a caveat. I mean, no matter if I am scamming people, but you're investing in us. So somewhere our greed gets us into a very, very bad position. So yes, NFT gives you huge opportunity, but you have to be very, very agile in terms of understanding on which platform these NFTs and this entire implementations are, and there are hygienic ways to understand and qualify the opportunity. So I think it's the biggest opportunity. You have to handle with a lot of care, and this is an opportunity you cannot ignore. You just cannot ignore. So you have to be very, very clear when you read a newspaper. You cannot trust media, with all due respect, because even media is trying to catch up. I have a lot of respect for media, but many a times, because of the open press which internet gives opportunity, a lot of unqualified information is also passed on to you. Typically negative information is something which is passed on very, very quickly. So you should use the government's portal and qualified portals to actually abridge yourself. And I think education and creation are the two biggest opportunity which cryptocurrency is going to offer. So I think, how many of you took a course during the COVID period? Like personality development or so many courses. So just imagine if I tell you that, in next whole of your life, as many students you teach, you will get incentive for all the teachings that you have given, which has been monetized by your students. So how many of you would opt to actually teach? Now that's only possible because of this technology. Just imagine. And how about, like the panel was saying, if you are paid for learning? Just imagine if you are paid for learning. Just imagine if you are paid for innovating a cuisine which is, which will be immortal, it'll always be yours. And you can license, and every time you can just understand whosoever is using that particular thing. Why? Because if I'm cooking that, I need it to be certified that, yes, this is the original dish. So there are a lot of regulations which are coming. You have to be very responsible. It's a fire that you are using, and fire can melt an iron and it can burn you. So it depends how you're leveraging this. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Okay. Right. My question to you, Girish. Okay, as a crypto evangelist, coach, and expert developing infrastructure in crypto, can you give us some insight on the potential possibilities in this space?
Okay. So, like, educating people around this has been tough, where making them understand how this technology works, why is it credible, why is it trustless, how they can use it. Like he was like, if you take an example of Bitcoin, like, is there a company, like, can anyone tell me a company or a team who is managing funds into it? But still, billions of money is locked into it, and still people trust it, exchange it, transfer it, and use it. Countries like El Salvador has adopted it, and they are managing and utilizing it very well. So it depends on us, like how adoptive we are, how experimental we are. I really thank Worldchef Congress to keep this panel and ask everyone to be here and talk about this subject and educate the chef, the creator industry about the same and how is it valuable to them. So the challenge which I was facing while I was traveling across different industries, talking to people, is like, still the technology is very new, very nascent, where the creator is not able to relate, like how my course or how, if I want to raise funds, right? And I want to open a restaurant, maybe in any country or digitally in a metaverse. So, so how I can do that through this technology? But like people discussed about NFTs, tokenizing it, and even the people who are investing into it, the people who are buying tokens, how they are incentivized with this decentralized technology, the trustless technology. So I've been facing a lot of problem, and but yeah, I think there are educators like Sebastian Huth and so many people who are understanding and spreading this across. So it's happening eventually. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that. Sorry, we are just short of time. Quickly, Mr. Mohammed, as a startup mentor, you have supported several entrepreneurs in crypto. What's the biggest challenge that you see, like, and how do you really address it?
The biggest challenge is the misconception and the mix between the technology and Bitcoin. And for example, last month or two, a cryptocurrency called Luna basically just disappeared and wiped out, I don't know, $60 billion or something. So people mix that, okay, crypto is a scam. Usually this is what I keep hearing all the time. and anything, and not lacking of understanding between crypto and the underlying technology of blockchain. Blockchain is a technology that will allow you to create tokens. You can use it to have an application to trace where the food come from, or different applications, just the technology. So the challenge is the misconception of what is this, and it's all a scam, and everything is similar. So which having a regulatory authority, for example, having regulation in ADGM in Dubai is also helping in that area. And what we're trying to do is trying to tell people it's how this is a technology, how do you use it will determine if, what's the output.
So what you're saying, the technology is great, but the intent of people has to be established in it actually.
It's a new technology, a new innovation is very challenging. You all of a sudden now, instead of keeping your money in the bank, you have it in your wallet. You are responsible for it. If you lose it, you cannot go and complain. So people want full freedom. At the same time, they don't want to take the responsibility. So it's a mix of these kind of things. And that's, I think, between regulation and advisory and education, it comes to fruition.
Thank you
on
for
that note, gentlemen, I need to, sorry, but we need to wrap it up, Sanji. We've
All right,
got
fine, okay.
10 seconds.
All
9,
right, okay.
8, 7, 6. I've disappeared to the Metaverse. 3.
Okay, fine.
I'm in the food
All right,
verse.
then I did have a couple of questions,
Sorry.
but then why don't you sum it up for me, Andy? What do you see a chef's perspective in this?
A chef's perspective is that we need to innovate, we need to create, we need to be at the cutting edge of what we think will benefit the customer.